So, you want to bag your Porsche 964 and 993. Hello and welcome to another video, guys. And yes, we're here with two beautiful classic Porsches owned by the one and only Derek Ramsey, if you have not figured that out yet. So ngayon, today, we're going to talk about these two cars, these two classic cars. And you might be wondering, why are they in one catalog video? Pero the short answer is, these two cars are very similar. The front end of the car is literally the same thing, only the body panel is different. The front, the shocks, everything is same on the front. The only thing different is the backside of these cars. So we figured na, let's just put it in one video, right? So before all of that, thank you nga pala to Derek Ramsey, the owner. Not only it was a great opportunity to work on two classic Porsches, it was a pleasure working with him. To add on top of that, we were able to shoot two classic cars in one video. This is something that is really hard to come by, having a 964 Turbo and a 993 Turbo in one video, and cataloging them in one video is very difficult to get, or it's a match made in heaven, if I would say, diba? So if you like this type of videos, it would really help if you subscribe to the channel, like and share the video, hit the bell icon for a notification, and for this part of the video, we're gonna talk about the under chassis. So ngayon, please lend me your ears and your attention as we discuss the beauty of these two cars underneath all of this, okay? So let's get to that real quick. Hello and welcome to the front suspension ng Porsche 964. This is actually applicable din sa 993 front kasi the 993 and the 964 share the same front suspension. Shock mounts, down to the camber bolts on the bottom, all the same. Lalagyan ng brake line, lalagyan ng mga to, parehas lang. They're all the same. Leonard, what's the type of suspension ito?
It's a McPherson type strut.
Bakit siya McPherson type? There's a pivot point here.
Yes, it rotates clockwise and counterclockwise.
Okay, surprisingly, this is actually same for all of the Porsche models na meron tayo throughout the years until the 992 generation ngayon. Everything is McPherson from 1980s to 2021 until lumabas yung GT3 na Porsche natin. So, yeah. Clearances, okay naman. Using a standard two-bellow bag, double bellow bag. This is an AREX strut. We use this for Derek's front kasi yung kanyang front suspension sabog na yung stock suspension niya. It's all very spacious naman. Wala naman tayong kailangang tandaan. Pretty straightforward for a very classic car. Actually, it's a 90s. It is a 1992. It's a quite modern Porsche na in my spec. 1992 1990 pataas na Porsche is really good na. So, anyway, McPherson type. And then, same for the 993. Singit ko na lang dito if may gusto ako ipakita sa 993. Pero for now, that's it. That's the front suspension ng kotseng to. It also has a top camber plate on the top side. Okay? Oh, something you need to know pala. Itong shock mount nito, usually tatlong shock mount bolts, di ba?
Yeah,
This is 4. So, it's very easy to identify pag Porsche na 993 at 964. Pag apat yung bolt, it's a fucking 993, 994.
This is strictly for...
I don't know. This is the first, like, sa dami kong ginawang kotse, ngayon ko lang nakita yung, well, yung mga ginawa ko kina Angie. Yun yung laging apat na bolt yung shock mount nila. Other than that, yeah. Let's go to the backside where actually we discuss the difference between the 964 and 993 for the rear suspension. Front is the same, rear is not the same. Alright, now we're at the 993's front suspension. Pailo na taas. This is actually the same lang ng 964. As we discussed kanina, singit ko lang to. Paki-ilaw ulit. So, this is the front axle. This turbo is actually a four-wheel drive system or all-wheel drive system. The axle of the car is the limitation for the front suspension ng kotseng to. As you can see, that will hit the chassis frame pag nag-air out tayo. Yun lang naman yung gusto kong i-reiterate or ipakita. This is also true for other 964 models na mga Carrera 4S. The front axle will hit that area. So this 993 won't drop really low, well, compared to the 964. But it's still low. Papakita namin sa inyo later on. Siningit ko lang to. So let's move on to the backside of the car to discuss the difference. Alright, hello and welcome to the rear suspension ng Porsche 993. The reason why we're actually on this point of view kasi yung ating shocks is mahaba Okay, this is the shocks, obviously. Ow, that fucking hurts. So this is the shocks, and it goes way up, going up there. So yun yung ating air bag. Your air spring is right on top. The tower is actually really, really tight. That's why we had to use a very special bag, yung double bellow slims natin, na semi-slims rather. They're a very slim type of the double bellows na meron kami to accommodate the tower. Okay? This unit is actually sporting a Bilstein stock suspension type na rear struts, and we converted it to bags. So, one thing to note, parehas lang ang 993 at 964 sa baba ng kanyang rear suspension. It's the same thing. Ang nag-iba lang is yung shock mount sa taas. The shock mount on the top is a 3-bolt for the 964. The 993 is a 4-bolt pattern. So, yun lang yung nag-iba. Okay, other than that, they're pretty straightforwardly the same. That's why we actually catalog this video to be a 964 and a 993. So you want to bag your car series. So let's actually take a look inside. Let's try to view the bag at least man lang makita natin yung airbags natin. It's really tight there. So you really have to pick your bags right. Let's have to shine the light a little bit better here. Ah, there it is. Proper shining of the light will actually expose the bags. So, you get the gist of it. So, medyo mahirap kasi masikip. We're really underneath the car right now. There we go. There's the bags. So, yeah. The tower's really up there. Actually, here we have a better view of the bag here. There we go. But you get the point. Masikip na tore. Maliit na bag dapat ang gagamitin. 964, 993 parehas lang. Pero shock mount lang nagkaiba sa rear suspension. And that is all you need to know for the rear suspension on 964. They're actually married suspensions, right, Lee?
Yes.
Which actually made this build really easy. Just have to select your right type of bag. Other than that, straightforward. Oh yeah, ang nagpahirap pala ng rear suspension is the way the shock mount is accessed. Let's go to the top side sa likod ng makina ng kotse para makita nyo. Alright, so singit ko lang din tong sa 993 rear suspension system. It's actually the same as the 964. The only difference is that the 964 doesn't have this rear stab link assembly or yung baso natin sa ilalim or the height adjustment on the bottom doesn't have the stab link mount here. Sa 964 wala yan, sa 993 meron. That's a telltale sign kung 993 or 964 ba yung suspension nyo. Kasi itong 993 rather, has a sway bar linkage right over there. There's a sway bar linkage going up. So, yeah. Yun lang naman. Singit ko lang to as they are the same. And iba lang yung shock mount nilang dalawa. But other than that, everything is very similar. Alright, so of course, for being a Porsche, the engine's on the back side. So ngayon, as you can see, the shock mount is actually way inside that there. Sa loob pa nun. So you have to take this out. The intercooler. You have to take the air filter box to access the rear shock mount of the car, adding to the difficulty of accessing the shocks. Pero when we're talking about building the air suspension, it's pretty straightforward. Hindi siya katulad ng mga divorce suspension. So the only thing that's going to be a hassle to do when you're building or if you want to bag your 964 or 993 is you have to take out the big intercooler and the air intake. Pag hindi turbo model yung inyo, unlike this car, you won't have the intercooler. You'll only have to worry about the air filter box here. But for this car, it's a 964 turbo, and we have a 993 turbo at the back side. So the intercooler is present, the big-ass intercooler. Okay? So that's going to be it lang for the rear suspension. Sinama ko lang yon. Let's actually go to the front side where we'll actually have the layout of the car. So welcome to the front of the Porsche 964. This is very similar sa 993 rin. So, of course, wala kayong makitang system. It's actually underneath this cupboard or top board. And you can see that this is the gas tank of the Porsche 964. You have to be very careful when you're doing, when you're actually operating something with very, very close to a flammable source of material. Ngayon, removing this top cover will expose the system natin. And we'll just discuss kung paano namin ginawa yun real quick. As you can see right out of the bat, we actually have limited space. The battery is on the right side and we have the Fitment engineering management system right there on the spare tire location. You might have noticed we are using a different colored tank. This is a 2-gallon small tank provided by Boss Angie to accommodate to this small space. Our 3-gallon is too long. We can't do diagonal, and this is the best location for now. So, yeah, pretty straightforward. 2-gallon tank. We have a compressor here, and we have the Fitment engineering management system on its 3rd generation. So, even though hindi kita yung system namin, we still made it pretty para pag sumilip si Boss Derek at nagpalit siya ng battery, everything is clean. Yun naman din yung request niya. Kahit nakatago, dapat malinis. Which is, yun naman talaga ang ginagawa namin for all cars, hindi lang kay Boss Derek. Even for your cars, kung gusto mo magpa-air suspension sa Fitment engineering. So, putting it back, just snug. Thank you nga pala kay Jomar for working on this. Very, very clean layout. So, zooming out, everything is just snug. Yun lang naman. Let's actually drop the car and let's talk about how to bag your 964. Our final thoughts for the 964 and maybe the 993 rin. Okay? Let's go. Alright, welcome to the 993's front layout naman sa front. So, as you can see, it's very similar to the 964. Ang naiba lang dito ay ito. There's a CD player on this area that the boys have, you know, moved away from paggawa nila ng kahoy. Ipapakita natin sa inyo yan ngayon. The first step is to move it upwards, as Jomar said. Okay? And then slowly move it to the side. Make sure the CD player's cover doesn't get in the way. And that's it. That's the system. Oh, sorry. That's the system. And parehas lang siya na 964. The battery location is the same. The fuel tank location is the same. The air suspension layout is the same. It's the same thing. The only difference is may CD player siya. So putting this back, don't wanna take too long dito sa 993 kasi ito ay parehas lang na 964. I already discussed it sa inyo. And this is it. Ayan na siya. It's just flushed. Ready to go. Anyway, that's going to be it for the 993. Alright, welcome to the outro of the video. We have 2 cars connected on my phone and Leonard's phone. We're gonna air them up both, okay? So there's proof that we air sus this car, di ba? It's really bad, okay? So ngayon, let's drop them together and let's discuss the dynamics of the cars, okay? Let's go down. What a thumbnail. Alright, so they're both on the floor. We need to turn off the cars before they go low bat. We don't want to start the engine here. It's going to cause a lot of heat. And I'll sweat like a pig. Ngayon, let's turn it off first. Okay. 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 Yeah. All right. Still recording? Check. Places. Okay? All good? How low are they? All right, so the cars are back on the floor, they're dropped on the ground, and how did the under chassis go? The discussion, nakita nyo ba doon? All right, quick summary, the fronts are really the same. The front shocks are really the same. It's bolt on together, you can interswap them. The front is literally the same. The only difference is this car has a CD player, but the other one does not have that, pero everything's the same underneath. Okay? And then the back side, nakita nyo, the shock mount is different. Here's the shock mount for the 993. Here's the shock mount for the 964. 3-bolt pattern, 4-bolt pattern. And then on the bottom side of the shocks, there's a stab link on this one's shocks. This one doesn't have one. But they're technically the same. Almost. So that's why it's on one video. And of course, we have the 2 cars in one video. So ngayon for this segment, we're just gonna put the camera here and we're gonna talk about the fitment of the car. Because our gimbal is broken, I think it's a good addition to the catalog. Alright. Hello and welcome to the new segment of the video ng So You Want to Bag Your Car series. Isisingit natin sa outro, which is right here where you are now, the fitment of the car. We're going to discuss the front and rear fitment of the car or the cars for this video. So ngayon we have the front of the 964 in front of us, and as you can see, we gave the car a fender to lip fitment. Okay, this is possible for this car kasi it is actually a rear-wheel drive, a 964, 911 turbo, rear-wheel drive only, and that means there's no front axle on the front side, so we can literally drop the car without obstructions. It's gonna be a different story for the 993, but for now, I just want you to see the fitment ng ating 964 sa harap. Actually looks really good. For me, this is like a thumbs up para sa akin. So let's go to the 993. and discuss kung ano yung compromise natin on that side. Hello and welcome naman sa front of the 993. And as you can see, well, coming from your angle, it's still fender to lip. This is the edge of the fender. So probably you're looking at the oh, it's still fender to lip, di ba? Sabihin mo, oh, baba pa rin. But actually, if you look a little bit closer, or if you're parallel to the fender itself, there's actually a finger gap because this is a all-wheel drive turbo model na 911. So in that case, there's a front axle. I don't know if you can see it, pero there's a tiny gap there. Actually, it looks similar to the 964 naman. Well, come to think of it, yeah, they look the same. So I think mission accomplished tayo. So how do you like the front fitment for the 993 and the 964? It is something that I wanted to share sa catalog kasi you might be curious, can I drop the car this low on my car as well? So we're discussing it as well. Let's move on to the back side of the cars and let's begin with the 993's rear side muna. Alright, first of all, there we have the fitment sa likod. We're on the 993's rear side. And as you can see, we're actually tucking a bit sa likod. And here's the overall fitment, zoomed out. And all I can say is, sobrang pogi ng kotse ito. It looks so good. I never thought that bagging a classic Porsche and a classic body. Obviously, this is not our first rodeo. We actually done Porsches in the past. But this is the classic body. Lahat ng ginawa namin before is actually an RWB body. So as you can see, we're tucking on the 993. Alright, and we're just looking good and flushed. I wish we can poke out the wheels a bit better. Probably spacers, or we can rebarrel it for Boss Derek in the future. But for now, the fitment's looking really good. And we can go to the other side, the 964. Okay? Alright, welcome to the rear side ng 964. As you can see, we're just sakto. We're just right on the money. It's a fender to lip fitment as well. Okay, they have slightly different body lines, as you can see naman. For the 964, we're at fender to lip. For the 993, we're actually tucking. Ngayon, for this one, looks the same. Zooming out, yan yung fitment sa likod. Overall, it looks good in my taste. Sobrang okay talaga. I prefer this car over the black one, sorry. I think Boss Derek will agree because this is his favorite car. I would actually agree na rin because this car rides like really well compared to the 993. Pero yeah, this is the fitment overall. Hope you like this small segment na siningit ko sa outro to keep the video interesting. But yeah, let's move on to our final thoughts. So welcome back. Hope you like that segment na sinama namin yung fitment ng kotse. I think that's something that you guys would appreciate to watch or listen to. But for now, it's the end of the video. That's it. That's how to bag your Porsche 964 993. A big shout out to the owner once more, Derek Ramsey, the one and only. Maraming salamat sa inyo. Of course, thank you sa boys for taking care of the cars. Thank you kay Lay and my team for going here every time. As you can see, we home service this car. If you want to watch more about these cars, we actually uploaded a 3 to 4 part video vlog kung paano namin ginawa tong kotse ni Boss Derek, and makikita nyo rin yung reaction niya doon. And if you want to see more pictures of these cars, check out our Instagram at Fitment TV para makita nyo yung mga photoshoots na ginawa namin for these cars. Honestly, it's a pleasure to work on these cars. These are like classic Porsches, and I'll probably never get to own one as they are more expensive than modern cars. So, I'm just happy to be part of a video where I have them both here. As we go back through time, makita natin, yeah, damn, those cars are really expensive now. So ngayon, that is it. That is how to bag your 993 and 964. Sorry, the naming is actually very confusing. I know, pag hindi kayo maalam sa Porsche, you're like, what is a 964? What is a 993? But that's going to be a separate video discussion if you want to know more about Porsches. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of videos on YouTube for you to discuss kung ano naming nila. But for now, that's going to be it. Okay? Please like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for the notification. Okay? And that's going to be it. Thank you so much. It's been Cal from Fitment Engineering, and you're watching Fitment TV.